Okay, thank you. It's great to be here. I'm a GP in Tower Hamlets, so East London, and I've been writing and campaigning on the NHS for a few years now. I ended up writing a book called How to Dismantle the NHS in 10 Easy Steps. Don't worry, it's not the blueprint. As we've heard, unfortunately, they've had those for a long time. This has been a 30-year journey of converting the NHS from a public healthcare system into a market system towards the final goal of a private health insurance system. That journey started in the 80s. It moved on in the 90s towards creating a limited market in the NHS. From 2000, we saw that market expand into an extensive market, and we saw things like PFI that we've already heard about. You've got a whopper of a PFI nearby at St George's. Unfortunately, on my patch as well, we've got the biggest PFI in the country at Barts in the Royal London, where Rishi is an orthopaedic surgeon, and in my area where I'm a GP. At Barts in the Royal London, they're paying over £2 million a week on the interest on that PFI to Stansley and Esprit, the corporate consortium that you've heard about, and for over 100 PFI NHS hospitals, so privately financed NHS hospitals up and down the country. They are now run, they're financed, they are run, and in some cases owned by consortia of corporations and banks. So Barts in the Royal London are paying over £2 million a week, probably heading towards £3 million a week in the future, before they see a single patient. And the end result is that a hospital that, if it had been publicly financed, would have cost £1 billion, ends up costing £7 billion by the time the repayments are complete. So you've got £6 billion that just goes to banks and corporations. And if you're looking at the whole of the UK, the PFI debt is over £300 billion. So that's an extra £250 billion going to the corporate and financial elite. At the same time, you will obviously hear a lot in the mainstream media and from the government, from Jeremy Hunt, about health tourism. To put it into perspective, health tourism is about 0.3% of the budget, which is to distract you from real issues like PFI. Since 2010, we've seen an acceleration, as we've already heard, in privatising the NHS. We had the Health and Social Care Act. That was a privatisation act. It opens up NHS contracts to unlimited corporate takeovers. We've seen the numbers on that certainly go up significantly. It also did something else which we don't hear much about. It allows NHS hospitals now to make up to half their income from private patients. So if you go across particularly world-famous centres, large centres, you now have the situation that we've heard a little bit about, which is that NHS wards are being closed down, private wards are being expanded. You already have a two-tier system in place. And as you've heard from Dr. Ashlin, NHS patients are being turned back due to lack of beds, staff, resources, sometimes for life-saving treatment, whilst private patients are being fast-tracked. Since 2015, we've seen a consolidation of all of this, and there's a 5-year plan called the 5-year forward view. And that's really why we're here in particular, is this acceleration and this consolidation. And this is a move towards something called accountable care. That's another of these euphemisms. It means US private health insurance. That's what accountable care is. Helpfully, that's mentioned in the 5-year plan, in the summary. And Simon Stevens has mentioned it, the NHS boss, has mentioned it twice to Parliament this year. And the vehicle for that is the sustainability and transformation plans, or slash, trash and privatise, as we sometimes disrespectfully call it. And that means £22 billion in cuts, which takes it to about £40 billion in cuts for this decade. And it means privatisation, and I can hear that beeping now. In terms of things we can do, we've got an election in about 2 weeks. In case we hadn't noticed. And for the first time in a generation, there is a real choice. And that choice is between heading towards, without exaggerating, a US private health insurance system under Theresa May, or a publicly provided and owned NHS under Corbyn, under a Labour government. And you begin to understand now why there is such a smear campaign being targeted against against that leadership from the mainstream media, from the establishment, because the manifesto of the many, not the few, endangers the interests that we've just heard about, of big banks and corporations. I'll just round off here. Even with a Labour government, this will still be down to all of you. It's down to the public to join fabulous local campaigns like this one, to build a mass movement, to force pressure on the elite to make those concessions. We often hear a lot about free markets and about choice. Well, June the 8th is a choice. June the 8th is a really big choice. Make it count.
Thank you, Youssef.